Okay, guys, like, I know this is cliche, but have you ever had those days where you sort of lose faith in the human race? Because I've lost faith in the human race over this video. Not only has Favyn argued this twice on Twitter already this year, he's desperately trying to force this narrative that has been created by the 343 fanboys over the last 12 months that Halo isn't an arena shooter. This is the most retarded shit yet. This is retarded. I'm sorry. Favyn is retarded. It's not a matter of like an opinion. This is not an opinion. This is not an opinion-based matter. This is just a fucking fact that it's an arena shooter. It's not a fucking opinion. It's not my opinion. It's not his opinion. It's a fucking fact. So then why do we have this narrative? I just can't, man. I'm sorry. This is retarded. Is this the same Favyn, right, that I debated in like 2016 or whatever it was? Is this the same fucking guy who said that Overwatch wasn't using free-to-play models? What is Overwatch 2? It's a free-to-play game. Everything I said in that video came true. He had to backtrack on the sprint debate because he kept talking about double melees, and he had to backtrack on all that shit and stop talking about it. I said that Green Skull was a shill, and now he and Green Skull are part of the same shill program where you're given like free fucking $1,500 fucking chairs, apparently, to work for free for free. Maybe Favyn hasn't got one of the chairs, whatever. But like, it's the same group of people. It's the forerunners, it's the pilots, it's the same fucking bullshit. They're working behind the scenes and then lying to us and telling us the game's amazing when they're being paid to say that. Favyn defended Green Skull, saying he wasn't a shill. Then he joined the club that Green Skull's in and became a shill. Okay. Everything I said in that debate came true. Everything went free to play. I said it was going to happen. I called it. Nothing Favyn said had any substance to it whatsoever. Everything he said was false in that debate. We can say that for a fact at this point. Nothing he said was right. Everything I said was correct. And now he's saying Halo's not an arena shooter. It's painful. It's actually painful. It makes me physically unwell. Honestly. It's painful. Like, where do you go from there? But where do you even start? How do you why you shouldn't even have to justify the position. That's how retarded it is. It's like saying the sky is blue and then you have to argue the point. It's already been established. We've established the sky is blue. The color of the sky. We've established it. But now we've got to come up with some bullshit reasons as to why it's an arena shooter when everybody already knows it's an arena shooter. It's backwards. Arena shooters have a certain type of gameplay where you fight in multiplayer in an arena with weapons on the map, and there are slight variations between different arena shooters, but there's normally a consistent number of game modes that cross over between them, like capture the flag, for instance, etc, etc. Okay? Not all arena shooters are going to be exactly the fucking same. But Halo is an arena shooter. Until you get to the 343 games where we're sliding on a sliding scale and we're drifting off into Twitch shooter territory, right? That's what Halo 5 and Halo Infinite are. They are Twitch shooters. Okay? The rest of the Halo games are arena shooters. So Halo Infinite and Halo 5 are not arena shooters, they're Twitch shooters. What have fucking progressed from arena shooters, so they keep some of the fucking bullshit from arena shooters or whatever. But they're not arena shooters. All the old Halo games are arena shooters. Again, we've explained what arena shooters are. And I shouldn't have to explain it because it's obvious. So now we're going to go to the video. And we're going to hear a guy try to sell you snake oil. Because that's what he does. He's going to try and sell you on an idea. He's not going to have any logic behind his argument. He's going to use a lot of big words and nonsense. And the conclusion is going to be that it's not an arena shooter because of some bullshit reason that makes zero sense. Okay, first of all, Halo came out at a time when arena shooters were red hot. It came out like a few years after GoldenEye, a few years after fucking Quake 3. It was the height of arena shooter fame when Halo 1 and Halo 2 came fucking out. So right there, you know that it was a freaking arena shooter. So to even suggest otherwise is a preposterous notion, right? But yet somehow they find a way to spin a narrative on this shit, man. I just can't believe this stuff. So let's watch the video. Let's not. I'm just fucking blabbering. I'm just prolonging the inevitable because I really don't want to fucking do this, but I have to, because no one else is going to call this guy out. Nobody else is going to say, hey, that's bullshit. So I have to be that guy.
Hopefully the premise of today's video is not so outlandish that I lose the audience before they even hear what I have to say. I know that Halo being an arena shooter isn't even really something that's debated, it's just accepted. I think a large portion of Halo fans would call it that. I think they've called it that for a long time, and more importantly, I think a lot of Halo fans think of Halo first when they hear the term. That's probably the game they were playing when they heard it for the first time, and really...
No, it wasn't the fucking game I was playing when I heard it for the first time. It was a fucking term in gaming long before Halo came along. Okay? What are you talking about? Halo was definitely not the first arena shooter that we fucking played. Not by a long fucking shot, man. So what are you talking about? That's nonsense. We got Tour at Rage Wars. We got Unreal Tournament. We've got fucking GoldenEye. We got... This is ridiculous.
The catalyst for this discussion was a tweet that I made not too long ago where I said Halo is not an arena shooter. And it was controversial. The responses ranged from, wow, nice take, I agree, to, I think I found the dumbest man on the internet. I got comments like, hey, you know, I disagree with you on almost everything you've ever said in your entire life, but finally, you said something worthwhile. And I also got a lot of, you know, hey, I'm a big fan, right there with you.
Who gives a fuck what other people think? Get to the point. Who cares if retards are talking about it on Twitter? Who cares? Nothing of value ever came from Twitter. There's no argument here to be won or lost on Twitter because the people over there are retarded. Point of fact. And then now it's like, oh, well, somebody on Twitter said they agreed with me. You might as well just like you could say a random man on the street agree with me. Who cares? What does that fucking accomplish? Move the fuck on. What is your argument for this? There isn't one. Establish facts that it's an arena shooter because of its gameplay, the time it came out. But no. It's not an arena shooter because somebody agreed with him on Twitter that it's not an arena shooter. That's all we've got so far. Come on. Just get to the point. Get to the fucking point.
On almost everything, but you're out of your goddamn mind with this take. So I thought I'd talk about it today, defend myself a bit, elaborate on why I don't...
Why are you going to keep double? This is the fucking bring back Halo bit, man. You're doubling down, tripling down, and fucking quadrupling down on being wrong.
Some people will double down and triple down and quadruple down on being wrong, being liars, right? Because they're already in so deep. They've already said so much shit, and now they just, even though I can prove them wrong, they will not backtrack. They will not apologize. They will not admit they were wrong.
That's what you are doing. This is the third fucking time, man. I told you it was bullshit the first time. I told you it was bullshit the second time. We had a fucking, I don't know, 30-minute fucking conversation about it. Or whatever. Or like tweeting back and forwards. And now, And now, not satisfied with the fact that we established that you're wrong, you've got to triple down on this shit, man. What is there to fucking explain? How hard is this? This is an established fact. It's not an established opinion. It's an established fact because it is an arena shooter. It is. It's a fact. It's not up to debate. It doesn't even matter if I try and explain to you why it is or isn't. The fact is, it is one. So that's it. Done. Fact. Done. Draw a line. Jesus Christ.
Halo is an arena shooter, what caused me to say this, and also whether I think it's even a big deal. So is it a big deal?
What are you talking about? Is it a big deal? If it's not an arena shooter, explain why. Why is it not an arena shooter? Explain. That's it. That's all we want to know. Get to the point. This is a 16-minute video of what? Is it a big deal? What do you mean is it a big deal? Who gives a fuck if it's a big deal or not? Who cares?
No, it's not. This is going to be a lighthearted discussion. This topic is so utterly unimportant to the grand scheme of things.
Then why make a 16 fucking minute video about it? Why is it unimportant? It was important enough to you to make a fucking video. Was it not? But apparently this isn't even worth talking about. You're tripling down on your own fucking bullshit. If I hear the word sandbox, I swear down.
Literally changes nothing. The game is.
What do you mean it changes nothing? How does it change nothing? What are you talking about? It changes fucking nothing. What? Is it going to go back and are we going to see the game differently now because some idiot decided that it wasn't what it actually is in an arena shooter? Because you say it's not an arena shooter, are we going to suddenly think, oh shit, it's a piece of shit game now? Oh, I'm seeing it differently. Yeah, Halo 2 fucking sucks. It's a Call of Duty game. Yeah, I can see that now. Because the great Favyn has decided that it's not an arena shooter. No, that's not going to happen. So what do you mean? Get to the fucking point. Seriously, this should be like a 5-minute video and it's over 16 minutes. Why? Why is it? Get to the point.
Whatever it is, no matter what you call it, the distinction has no bearing on quality whatsoever. It is semantics.
Of course it does, actually. It actually does have a bearing on something because if people think that, oh, it's not an arena shooter, then that makes Halo fucking Infinite and Halo 5 look better because they are not arena shooter gameplay. So it makes those games look better. When a shill is telling you something, take notice of what he's saying. You've got a guy that gets paid in some way, shape, or form by fee for free to make fucking videos telling you that Halo has never been an arena shooter. Couldn't possibly be something to do with the fact that the current games are not really arena shooters? Maybe. Am I being cynical there? I don't fucking think so. I think I'm saying the fucking truth. Because who else is in this not an arena shooter club? Oh, the Ant-Man. Oh, LNG. The same fucking Halo retards. So, hello? Who's next? Green Skull?
And a giant-ass waste of time to truly argue it, or at least to argue it seriously. So if you listen to what I have to say...
Get to the point!
And you leave this video still thinking Halo is an arena shooter, I don't care. I'm not trying to really...
Get to the point!
Change your mind today. I'm not going to be a snobby asshat to you or correct you if you...
Get to the point! Really?
Like to use the term, I'm just going to explain why I don't think so. And also, why I...
You're not explaining anything. You're 2 minutes in. Get on with it. Let's go.
Don't want to use it to describe Halo anymore. So
let's go.
Why did I tweet this if I don't care? Well, my opinion of this does not come from a position of elitism or snobbiness or a sense that I'm better than you or because I just like to argue pointless shit. This was not an argument of Halo's worthiness to be
Do you see how he just babbles utter bollocks? Get to the point.
Associated with the term, which I think some people misinterpreted.
Get to the point!
arena shooter moniker was a club that I didn't want Halo to be in. It was actually the opposite. It was with great reverence, appreciation, and respect for the series that I don't like to call it that. Studying this game for the years that I...
What do you mean, studied this fucking game? Show us your freaking gamer card, man. Like, you don't even play this game. Halo Infinite, you haven't even played that shit. Like, your achievement card is like, oh, fuck all on it. I'm gonna have to go and find that shit now to prove the point, right? You don't play this fucking game series. So what are you talking about? Study this fucking game. Stop studying it. Your gameplay doesn't even... It's not even your own gameplay. You get other people to fucking send you that shit. Studied what? Get to the point. Why is it not an arena shooter? Say words. Tell us why. Stop talking bullshit.
I have grown to be in absolute awe of its design. I think it's genius and unique. And because I have such reverence for that design and the...
You think Halo 3 is genius and unique. You don't even like the other Halo games. Let's have it clear, man. This is bullshit.
Gameplay that it provides. I look at more traditional AFPS games like Quake and Unreal Tournament, and I just don't feel comfortable putting Halo in that bubble because the gameplay they provide compared to Halo is completely different. They feel...
False. Totally false. How is it completely fucking different? Do you or do you not have Capture the Flag in Unreal Tournament? Do you or do you not have freaking Deathmatch in those games? What do you mean the gameplay is totally different? These games came out before Halo. Of course, it's going to be slightly different because they were going for something slightly different. But because it's slightly different, that doesn't make it a freaking not an arena shooter. Is Gears of War not a freaking arena shooter? Gears of War has totally different movement and everything. That's way further away from Quake and freaking Unreal Tournament. And yet, guess what? It's still a fucking arena shooter. The only difference is it's an over-the-shoulder, third-person view fucking shooter. Right? But it's still an arena shooter. It's based in that fucking core of like game modes and freaking weapons on the map. It's still an arena shooter. That's what Gears of War is. One of the last remaining arena shooters, right? And you're going to claim that because it's got different fucking stuff in it to fucking Quake, that it's not... This is fucking retarded. Not every game needs to be exactly the same to be put in a category. Is freaking Mass Effect an RPG? Yes. Is fucking Elder Scrolls, Oblivion and Skyrim an RPG? Yes. But they're completely different fucking games. They play completely differently. Completely different, totally different designs. Okay? They're different. It's a category. Arena shooter is a freaking category. And Halo is in that category. Or was, before 343 fucked it up.
Feel absolutely nothing alike. It is a horrible comparison. And again, it's semantics, but for years this association has been used to argue against Halo's viability. Halo doesn't work in a modern market. Look at all of these arena shooters that have failed. Look at the numbers. No one wants to play these games. Look at Reflex or Quake Champions or Unreal Tournament 4. And I've been seeing it for years, and honestly, as you can see, my thoughts on this have been pretty consistent going all the way.
You know what else no one plays? Halo. And it's not an arena shooter anymore. It's a fucking Twitch shooter. It has been since 2015. You know what else no one fucking plays anymore? Dirty Bomb. That wasn't an arena shooter. So who's leveling these dumb arguments? Who is leveling these dumb arguments? Get to the point. Why is it not an arena shooter? Get to the point.
Way back to 2016. Hey, you know, it has some elements that it shares with those games, or it's a hybrid or whatever, and a lot of times it was in response to someone using that association to question Halo's viability. So that concept has recently had a massive resurgence with Halo Infinite not performing as well as many had hoped.
Yeah, but Halo Infinite isn't an arena shooter. So you see there, you've got your dividing line right there, between Halo 4 and Halo 5. There's a clear dividing line. There's no blurring. There's no fucking grey area. There's a big red fucking line. Halo 4 is on one side. Halo 5 is on the other. Halo 5 is a fucking Twitch shooter. End of discussion. There you go. You've answered your own freaking question. Oh, but Halo 5 has weapons on the map. Yeah. Speed. Time to kill. Call of Duty controls. Are these not things that you find in a Call of Duty game? A Twitch shooter? So we're drifting into Twitch shooters then. So how is that even an argument? How can Halo Infinite, arena shooters are shit because a Twitch shooter failed? Bizarre.
You know, I saw it happening again, and the years of hearing it finally prompted the tweet that I made, because I think Halo does more than enough to separate itself from those games. And if you read the tweet in that context, it is...
What are you talking about? Separate? It's an arena shooter. It doesn't matter how different it is, it's still an arena shooter. It's not pulling shit from Twitch shooters. There was no Twitch shooters when Halo was becoming Halo. There was no Twitch shooters. Where did it pull this shit from? Where did it decide that 2 weapons was the way forward? Where did it decide? Did they pull that from somewhere? No. They invented that shit. So what are you talking about? The fucking rabbit hole, man.
Very clear that I was defending Halo here, and actually promoting...
You're defending Halo by saying it's not an arena shooter. That's dumb. That's real dumb. Okay, that's the opposite of defending Halo. You're saying it's not something that's good. That's what you're saying. You're saying it's not a good game. These games are good. Arena shooters are generally good. Okay? So you saying it's not an arena shooter, you're saying it's not a good game. That's what you are saying. You're saying, well, yeah, Call of Duty, well, that's not a fucking arena shooter. Halo, well, that's not an arena shooter. You see? That's what you're doing. It being an arena shooter is a fact. It's not only a fact, but by saying it's not an arena shooter, you're shitting on its legacy. You're shitting on where it came from. Because it is an arena shooter.
As a special experience, instead of how many people interpreted it as me just maybe being contrarian.
Halo is not a special experience in game categories, okay? Is Mass Effect a special experience? So Mass Effect's no longer an RPG. Okay? Is that what you're saying? That makes no sense. Just because you feel a certain type of way about a fucking game, that's not analytical. You're not thinking logically. It's a category. It's a fucking category. It's an arena shooter. That's what it is. For better or for worse, that is what it is. That is a fucking fact. Doesn't matter how you feel about it, that is a fact. It's just a simple fact.
Or elitist or dumb. And what's interesting is Hardy LaBelle, the lead multiplayer designer on Halo Combat Evolved, actually replied to this tweet. And that reply got posted to Reddit Halo and exploded due to his comments on Halo being a party game, which I think is a big belief there. A lot of people really liked his thoughts on that, you know. But of course, there sat the first half of my tweet with no context, and I was just catching fucking strays. You know, yeah, Hardy, so glad to hear you validate these thoughts I have on Halo, and it's, you know, needing more party shit. But what the fuck's up with this guy? Halo's not an arena shooter? That top comment is whack. I mean...
Right. Well, you're off topic again, but this guy didn't say anything. He never flat out said, you're right, it's not an arena shooter. That isn't what he said. He placated you. He didn't do anything. Favyn says it's not an arena shooter. Some guy who apparently works on Halo says, my goal is to make a fun party game with shooter mechanics. Okay. So is it an arena shooter or not, dickheads? You had the floor. You supposedly built fucking Halo. You could have said right fucking there, I worked on the game and it was not an arena shooter. Guess what? You didn't say that because it is a fucking arena shooter. That's why you didn't say that, isn't it? Because otherwise, why would you not say that? You had the floor. You had the fucking floor. Right fucking there. All you had to do was say that it's not one. But guess what? You didn't. You didn't. The dev is almost trolling Favyn here, right? This is not useful information. My goal was to make a fun party game. Okay? This is pretentious bullshit, man. Oh my god, it's art. It's like fucking Kojima. It's like, it makes no sense, okay? And devs sometimes are like this, right? They see their game as like a piece of art, and they don't put it into a fucking category. But guess what? It's a fucking arena shooter. And if it's not an arena shooter, you had the floor right there to say that it isn't one, and you didn't do that. The floor was open. You came in, you supposedly worked on the game, and all you had to fucking say was, it's not a fucking arena shooter. That's all you had to say. You had to agree with him. You could have put way more weight to the argument than Favyn can ever put weight to it, and I still wouldn't agree with it. But you didn't do that, which adds weight to my fucking argument, because Halo is an arena shooter, as confirmed by the devs themselves, who didn't deny it. If this guy even is a dev. It could be LNG on another account. How the fuck do I know?
What a fucking idiot, am I right? Funnily enough, in the same thread I asked Hardy, hey, what do you think about this? Am I just crazy for thinking this? I'd love your perspective. And, you know, I found his comments rather interesting. Again, Hardy...
If he doesn't say point blank it's not an arena shooter, he's just placating. He's just appeasing a dumbass on Twitter. He's not... If he's not going to say, flat out say, it isn't one, then guess what? He hasn't added to your argument whatsoever. In fact, it takes away, because he had the opportunity to do that.
Well, lead multiplayer designer for Halo Combat Evolved, he said, you're definitely not crazy. Intention informs all design choices.
So again, doesn't say flat out it's not an arena shooter. Just fucking... What does Max Oberman have to say about it? Seriously. That's all I care about. Like, this is garbage. Halo 1's multiplayer was made in an afternoon. Let's not fucking go there. Let's stop talking bullshit. The intentions of arena shooters are the opposite of original Halo multiplayer. Amazing. All you had to say was, it's not an arena shooter. That's all you had to say. It's not difficult, but refuses to say it. Why? Why talking babble? Why talking nonsense?
And in my opinion, the intentions of arena shooters are the opposite of original Halo multiplayer. He also said, I'm pretty sure anyone who played competitive Quake would laugh at the notion of Halo as an arena shooter. It's not as tight or sweaty as those games by design, okay? And you don't have to agree with Hardy here.
So it's not as tight or sweaty as Quake. Then it's clearly a fucking Twitch shooter then. It's fucking clear Twitch shooter. I'm glad we've cleared that up. It's not as a fucking arena shooter. People who played that competitively Quake would laugh at the notion. So all those people that played fucking Skyrim and then went and played Mass Effect, is that now not a fucking RPG? Is that what you're saying? Is Pokemon not an RPG? An arena shooter is a pretty broad fucking term, okay? It's a pretty broad fucking term. It has its limits, but it's a pretty broad fucking term in itself. And you're telling me Halo can't be put under that category? Never. It's a motherfucking fact that it's in that category. I can't deal with this stuff, man. This stuff is fucking mind rot.
I don't always agree with him either, but can the fact that Halo's dad also doesn't
Right, so now you're saying you don't agree with your own source, which literally doesn't help your case at all.
Consider Halo an arena shooter, at least take the discussion's temperatures down a few notches. Can we at least consider now...
No, can we not talk bullshit about fucking garbage and nonsense that's already established as a freaking fact? Let's not take the temperature down. We should be fucking pissed off because it's fucking retarded. Nothing pisses you off more than idiots. Nothing. Nor should it.
That there are valid perspectives for Halo being something else, that there have to be people who define it differently.
Okay, so what category is it in then? It's not an RPG, right? It's not an action adventure, right? It's not a Twitch shooter, right? So what is it? What category is it in? A category on its own? The Halo category? Because it does stuff slightly different to other fucking arena shooters? No, that's not how it fucking works, idiot. There is no category to describe it. It can't be in a category on its own. Oh my days.
Can it at least become a more nuanced, calm, and lighthearted talk?
No!
The ultra-inflammatory, insult-filled, let's meme and shit on Fav party that it was for a little bit there?
Hell no, man. You keep doubling down on this garbage. Fuck off. It's bullshit.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Look, Halo's gameplay is completely different. It feels completely different, and the whole point of genres is to group similar experiences together. The reason we even make shit up like the term arena shooter, because it is a completely made-up, vague name, is to distinguish particular kinds of experiences. And as gaming evolves and we learn more and we discover more and new things appear, we re-evaluate and redesignate. Did you know that first-person shooters were not called first-person shooters in their infancy? They were called Doom clones. And as the genre expanded, that term became less and less applicable, and we started to differentiate these games with new terms that are completely made up and have no concrete definition either. So with that being said, when I said this, it was an attempt...
Stop going back to the fucking tweets, man. Get to the point, okay? You just answered your own question, by the way. It's a vague term. There you go then. Halo is an arena shooter. It's under that vague term. There you go. Done. Moving the fuck on with our lives. No, it's not an arena shooter because... None of which even remotely changes what I just said before. None of it.
To separate Halo from those types of experiences, because I and many others associate the term arena shooter with Quake and Unreal Tournament and modern attempts at that formula such as Reflex and Toxic. And a lot of...
But you're not giving a category for what Halo is. You're not offering a category that Halo actually is in. You're not giving an alternative to your argument. You're not saying Halo is this category. Okay? The category you're saying Halo is in doesn't exist. So it's under the arena shooter category because that category actually does fucking exist. To start with. So you're saying Halo hasn't got a category, which is bullshit. Like, it is in a category. It's in an arena shooter category. It's nuts, man. I'm telling you. It racks your brain, man.
A lot of people who play those games will often define the genre based on the characteristics of those games as well. They would probably mention the speed and the skill-based systems those games utilize in their movement way faster than they say things like even starts or weapon pickups, which is probably the first thing a Halo fan would say. And a lot of those traditional AFPS players who use those traditional elements to...
Again, we're going into the realms of madness. The snake oil is in full effect. Okay, this is what these groups of players who play these fucking games might say. Again, none of that has any bearing on Halo and it being an arena shooter. Either it is an arena shooter or it isn't. And if it isn't, tell us why it isn't. We don't care what the Quake guys think, whether fucking Halo is an arena shooter or not. We want to know why it isn't. By your own fucking lips. Why isn't it? Oh, some other guy said, no. You tell us the objective fact why it isn't. Go.
To define what an arena FPS is, we'll probably look at Halo and say, yeah, you know, that ain't it. Okay? And I think that's okay, because Halo
some guy
does
said
a
something.
bunch of really cool shit that some of those traditional arena shooters don't do. So what is the difference? Well, obviously Halo introduced a lot of distinguishing concepts.
So it's taken 7 minutes to get to the point where he's actually going to argue that Halo has different things, and that still doesn't stop it being an arena shooter, by the way. but he's just now starting his actual argument.
When it hit the scene. While games like Quake and Unreal Tournament allowed you to hold every weapon in the game at once, Halo utilized a 2-weapon limit. But not only that, Halo's sandbox...
Like other Halo games of the time, because Halo doesn't have a category. No, it didn't copy any other games. Right. So what you're saying is, it's an arena shooter where instead of holding multiple weapons, you can only hold 2. Right. Okay. So it's an arena shooter then. Right. Got it.
Structure itself is very distinct from arena shooters, distinct from any game. It utilizes what is often referred to as a utility weapon, which is a controversial topic in Halo. It's a powerful, versatile starting weapon which completely recontextualizes the role weapon pickups have in the sandbox. And by the way, this idea was also referenced by Hardy in that thread. Additionally, Halo had regenerating health. This completely changes every single engagement in the game because it adds consistency and readability. The reason we have terms like 4-shotted is because we know during every single encounter, overshield notwithstanding, a player will take 4 shots to kill if the final shot is a headshot. We know without a shadow of a doubt that 1 shot to the head or 2 shots to the body will kill with a sniper rifle. We know this because when a player is hurt, their shields will recharge to the exact same place.
So it's an arena shooter with regenerating health. Okay, I'm convinced it's not an arena shooter now, yeah, because arena shooters don't have regenerating health. Makes sense. I mean, that puts it in a whole different category. I mean, that's like landing on the moon, man. That's like so far away from a game where you pick health up off the floor to regen your health. It's so fucking different. Pertaining to this argument that literally has no bearing on the category. It's still in the same fucking category whether you have regenerating health or not.
Place it was just a few seconds ago. And even in the Halo games that had a separate health bar, it was simply a small component within Halo's overall health system and not nearly as relevant compared to the regeneration component. Arena shooters are traditional.
That's a point again against himself, because now you're saying that the game has health pickups on the map, which is something found in arena shooters, apparently.
Traditional arena shooters, at least, utilized health pickups or armor pickups to extend your survivability beyond one's initial health pool, thus creating tremendous variance during an engagement. You may run across someone who has full health and a ton of armor, or you may run across someone who lost all their health in a previous engagement and has been unable to replenish it. Your ability to replenish your health in an arena shooter was tied to map knowledge and your ability to control those pickups, and this created a unique dynamic of map control. When you combine Halo's regenerating health system with its unique sandbox structure, you start every life relatively well equipped to overcome whatever disadvantages may have occurred throughout the match. You have a competent, versatile weapon that can give you a chance in just about any scenario, and a health system that ensures...
That's not true at all. That's complete bullshit. You're talking as though the game is BR starts and everything, or pistol starts. It really isn't. You spawn with SMG pistol in Halo 2. That is the starting weapons, okay? In Halo Reach, you spawn with the fucking pistol and fucking assault rifle. You don't spawn with the freaking DMR, okay? Like, so what are you even saying here? You don't spawn with a relatively decent fucking weapon. You don't. It's like an arena shooter where you spawn with fuck all and have to work your way up. That's Halo. Not 343 MCC Halo where everything is fucking BRs and DMR starts. No, real Halo. Oh, but the pro scene. Yeah, no one cares about the pro scene. We're talking about arena shooters here.
Parity from encounter to encounter, and that is super important because Halo doesn't have the speed to overcome those disadvantages otherwise. And really, speed is the big differentiating factor here, because the other things I just mentioned...
So now we're going into, oh, you can run really fast in a real tournament, therefore Halo's not an arena shooter. Again, this is bullshit. This is total bullshit. Gears of War is fucking slow when you're fucking walking around. It's only fast when you fucking sprint. Guess what Halo added? Sprint. Jesus Christ, man.
are cool wrinkles, and they definitely create distinct elements within Halo, but the speed at which the game is played, to me, is what makes Halo and traditional shooters feel absolutely nothing like one another. And this speed and this skill within movement is what a lot of OG AFPS players associate with the genre.
GoldenEye wasn't a fucking super fast game. It was fast, but it wasn't like as fast as a fucking Unreal Tournament. So what are you talking about? Are you saying GoldenEye's an arena shooter? Perfect Dark's not an arena shooter? This makes no sense, what you're saying. Absolutely no sense.
I watched a great video on this by an Arena FPS fan that attempts to define what an Arena FPS is, and I would recommend you give it a watch because it will show you their perspective on what these games are.
It's not a perspective. It's not a perspective. It's just a motherfucking fact. It's not a perspective. There's no perspective on it. There's no opinions to be had. There's either the fact or the fact that it isn't. It is a fact that it is. You haven't got an alternative. You're not saying Halo's a Twitch shooter. You're not even able to say that the newer ones are Twitch shooters. Like, I can fully admit that the newer ones are now Twitch shooters, okay? And I can fully admit that the old ones are arena shooters, okay? You haven't got another category to put these games in. So either you're creating another category, and then what games will be in that category? Okay? What games will be in that category with Halo? Binary domain? I don't fucking know. You tell me, motherfucker. It's your video. But no, instead of coming up with another category, which would be the most plausible thing you could have done here, even though it makes no fucking sense because no one has a fucking clue about this category and it's just been made up in your fucking mind. But here, let's say you made up a category and Halo's now in this fucking category. Okay. You're not even doing that. You're not even trying. You're just saying it's not an arena shooter and then you've got no alternative category for what it's in. You're just saying it doesn't have a category. Well, you could say that about any game ever, but it doesn't hold water. You've got nothing. This is the weakest argument in the history of arguments, and it's retarded.
And why they like them. That speed is often considered just one differentiating variable. Okay, well, Halo's just a slower...
And also, how fast is fucking Call of Duty? How fast is Titanfall? Are they fucking arena shooters now? No! The speed isn't the fucking determining factor on whether it's an arena shooter. There's a fuckload of fast Twitch shooters. That's why they're called fucking Twitch shooters.
That's just like one difference. One's faster, one's slower. The speed at which arena shooters are played and the advanced movement techniques that are utilized, all with simultaneous combat, literally recontextualize everything.
Simultaneous combat? Are you fucking for real? Again with the sprint shit, man. Again. Fucking retarded, man.
Halo shooting is about micro precision. You have a target, there may be strafing a tiny bit, but the expectation is that you should land 4 shots on target within 4 to 6 attempts of firing the primary precision weapon. That's what you do over and over again, multiple times a match. That's aiming in Halo. In Quake,
That's very oversimplified. And this doesn't help your argument. What do you mean? In Quake, it's different. Yeah, but it's an arena shooter. Quake is an arena shooter. Halo is an arena shooter. Can we get off this? Like, can you explain to us why Halo is not an arena shooter? That's all you've got to explain. You don't have to explain to us why Quake is one. We're all happy with it. We're all happy until you dumbass rolled up today with the video, okay? We're all happy with the definition that Halo is an arena shooter. We're all happy with that. And we're all happy that Quake is an arena shooter. Nobody is questioning that. You're bringing something totally, like, radical and fucking out there, right? You got to explain. You got to explain really, really, really fucking well why it's not an arena shooter. Why? This one game. Not why fucking Quake is different and no. Why this game? Why this game is not an arena shooter? You can't do it because it's retarded.
Trying to fire a fucking rocket launcher at players moving at light speed and get your shots close enough to...
It's like saying Battletoads isn't a beat 'em up. It is. It's a beat 'em up and it's a platformer. It's a platforming beat 'em up. You jump on shit and you beat shit up. It's a platforming beat 'em up. That's what Battletoads is. But to Favyn, what? It's too different from other beat 'em ups. You can't call it a beat 'em up because even though you go from screen to screen and beat the shit out of things. There's a level where you ride a fucking bike and you go on a surfboard or whatever. Oh, and by the way, you do jumping in this game, so it's not a beat 'em up. Yet Battletoads is a fucking beat 'em up, man. It's like saying FIFA's not a sports game. That's what you're doing. You're coming. What is it then? What the fuck category is it then? It's not a sports game. Why? Because, well, in Madden, right, you pick the ball up off the floor and run with it, but in FIFA, you kick the ball with your feet. So because in FIFA you kick the ball with your feet, that's not a sports game. Because in most sports games, you use the ball with your hands. Tennis, you pick the ball with your hand and you hit it. Basketball, use your hands, man. Madden, use your hands to run with the ball, right? But so FIFA's not a sports game. You can make the same retarded arguments you're doing here. We don't care about these other games, okay? We don't care about fucking Quake. Tell us why Halo is not an arena shooter. Not why Quake is different from Halo. We all understand that Quake is different from Halo because it's a different fucking game. Okay? Why is Halo, 1, the example you're using, and 2, the clips you're using, why are they not fucking arena shooters? Those games. Go. You can't do it. You cannot do it.
To do splash damage on an enemy, and it's hard. That's how different the speed levels are in these. Tracking weapons in arena FPS is actually hard as fuck to keep on target. A tracking weapon in Halo CE through 3 is basically a timer to see if the person you're shooting at can find a way to kill you first, because their ability to evade those weapons isn't...
That's it then, it's not an arena shooter. Moving on.
Changes how you navigate a map.
That totally changes everything.
In Halo, you were limited as to how you moved and navigated play space due to your smaller set of mobility options, while arena shooters let you zip around at light speed by default, and most of them have a...
No, they don't, you fucking inbred. No, they fucking don't. Oh, in Madden, you can run with the ball. You pick up and run with it. Oh, in FIFA, you kick it at your feet. So it's a different game genre. No, it's not. What the fuck is Wonder Boy 3? Is it a platformer or is it an RPG? It's a platformer RPG. Well, to you, it's not an RPG because you platform, so it's a platformer. So then you're gonna go on a whole tangent about how, well, in fucking all these other motherfucking RPGs, you don't jump. You just don't jump on anything. You don't climb up on anything. You don't jump. So clearly Wonder Boy is not an RPG. That's what you're saying, man. It doesn't make sense. Just because things are slightly different, that doesn't take it out of a category.
Additional advanced movement mechanics such as strafe jumping or bunny hopping, where you could get up to twice as fast. And even when Halo added additional mobility options like Halo
when it became a Twitch shooter. So that doesn't even count.
They did so in a different way via abilities, and it still wasn't even close to being as fast. Halo's slower cadence paired with its sandbox structure and health model gave it a distinct feeling, and they all complemented each other. It didn't have the speed, right? You couldn't...
He used the word sandbox.
Dip around the map and get armor and a full set of weapons nearly as easily, so it helped that the game gave you a compelling and competent weapon at the start and equalized everyone's...
It didn't. It didn't give you a fucking competent weapon at the fucking start. The SMG was not a competent weapon in Halo 2. The start pistol in Halo 2 is not viable, okay? You can't mix them together. You have to pick shit up off the floor, right? So until you get to that plasma rifle or the other pistol or the dual SMG or the fucking battle rifle or whatever, you were vulnerable in Halo 2. You didn't have a competent weapon. It didn't even shoot halfway of the range. So what are you talking about? Halo 3 was slightly better, but that's because you live on Halo 3 and everything is Halo 3, Halo 3, Halo 3, Halo 3, right? Okay? Like, different game. Again, different game from Halo 2. You could argue, oh, Halo 2 is an arena shooter, but Halo 3 isn't on your basis because, oh, the assault rifle's got a longer range. Or, oh, this weapon works this way. Oh, the gameplay is this way in Halo 3, but it's this way in Halo 2. So Halo 2 is an arena shooter, and then Halo 3 isn't. You're not making any sense. Why is Halo not an arena shooter. Not why is the gameplay slightly different in various fucking iterations of arena shooters. We already understood that before we went into the video. Okay, no one was arguing that Quake was not exactly the same as fucking Halo. No one even, like, was even trying to make that argument that they're exactly the fucking same. Nobody was. That's like saying Sonic the Hedgehog is the same as Mario. They're both platformers, but guess what? They're both fucking different games.
Health to have more parity. And that's really what it all boils down to. The speed, the sandbox, the health model, plus tons of little wrinkles, it changes the feel of the game. And this obviously is completely subjective and impossible to quantify, but you just feel it. And to me, gameplay is weighted very...
Again, you're going by your feelings again. No one cares about your fucking feelings. Why, objectively, is this not a fucking arena shooter? Objectively, go. You can't do it. You cannot fucking do it.
Heavily as to what my opinion of something is, so I'm...
It's not an opinion. It's a motherfucking fact. You have to say, okay, it's not a fact, and here is why it's not a fact, and here is why it's actually a fact that it's not an arena shooter. You cannot do that. If you say, well, it's my opinion that it isn't, well, that's bollocks, isn't it? Because it's a motherfucking fact that it is. So you have to disprove an already fucking established motherfucking fact. You're trying to disprove an established motherfucking fact. It's not an established opinion, it's an established fact. So how does he fucking counter the established fact? By saying, well, in my opinion, no. What is the fucking factual reason why it is not a fucking arena shooter? What is the factual reason? You can't do it.
We're inclined to associate genre with how something feels and which games feel like them. So if you are somebody who laughed at the idea that Halo isn't an arena shooter, just play one of these games for a few minutes.
That's like saying, oh, I'm playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the frickin' Mega Drive, and I'm like, yo, this isn't a frickin' platformer because he can like spin dash in Sonic 2 or whatever, or he like rolls along the ground. Mario doesn't do that. So Mario's a platformer, but so Alex the Kid's a platformer. Sonic's not a platformer because it's different. It's fucking horseshit, man. It's absolutely ass backwards, man.
I don't think it takes long at all to determine for yourself that these two experiences don't feel anything alike. And it is...
My analogy right then is the same thing. Sonic does not feel like fucking Mario either. But they're both fucking platformers.
A disservice to both of them that we lump them together. I'm not saying
it's not a disservice to anybody because it's a motherfucking fact that it's an established motherfucking fact that it's a fucking motherfucking fact that it's a fucking arena shooter fact. Motherfucking facts. Facts. Stop. Why even come up with this fucking stuff in your fucking head? Why even go there? What, do you sit up all night fucking dreaming this stuff? Writing 9,000 page essay scripts? Think, man, it's not viable. The argument is you're just doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down on the same shit. It's not a viable argument. You've got nothing. There's nothing here. You dreamt this up. You were lying about one day and thought, hey, Halo's not an arena shooter. I mean, it's got different gameplay to Quake, so it's not an arena shooter. It's retarded. Stop. Where is the objective reasoning here? Where is the logic? Where did it come in? What did the developers say? You got one guy talking absolute fucking bollocks that doesn't help your case at all. Clearly they built it as a freaking arena shooter because that's what was hot at the time. Halo came out in times that arena shooters were hot. So why is it anything other than an arena shooter? Okay, yeah, it's got some fucking differences. So is fucking Gears of War. GoldenEye isn't like fucking Quake. Are we saying it's the same fucking game here? No!
Possible to like both, but you'll probably like them for different reasons, because in my opinion, they are not even the same genre of game. I like.
But it's not an opinion. Why is it a fact? A fact, because it's an established fact that it is an arena shooter. Why is it a fact that it isn't? Okay? Where have we been going wrong for the last fucking 21 years? Where have we been going wrong here? Why have we been thinking it's an arena shooter for 21 years if it isn't an arena shooter? Okay? Come up with actual reasons. You've got nothing. You've got absolutely nothing. I see through all your fucking bullshit and your fucking snake oil. It's bollocks. You've got nothing. You're saying this game plays slightly differently. Well done. Okay, so Smash Bros. Isn't a fucking fighting game then. Yeah, Smash Bros. Isn't a fighting game because it doesn't play like fucking Street Fighter. It doesn't play like Mortal Kombat. Well, what the fuck is it then? Do people fight? What the fuck is it? It's a fighting game. They designed it. Iwata fucking designed that shit to be a fighting game for the everyman, okay? So it is a Street Fighter. It's a Street Fighter of Nintendo characters, but they wanted to make it more accessible, so they dumbed it down to make it easier for everyone to be able to play. But it was definitely coming from the idea of being a fighting game. That's exactly what Halo did. They wanted to make an arena shooter, but they wanted to put their own spin on it. That's it. There's no fucking smoke and mirrors, no fucking nonsense, no fucking bullshit. It's been established for 21 years it's an arena shooter. You have no logical reasoning for why it's not an arena shooter. It's just, well, this game is slightly different. Then Smash Bros. Is not a fucking fighting game. You're not making any sense.
Like Halo better, but I get why people like those games that pioneered this term. And there absolutely should be a distinction, because if genres are made up to...
There shouldn't be a distinction because you haven't even got a distinction for what Halo is if it's not an arena shooter. You're not saying Halo is a meh. You're not saying that.
Categorize similar experiences, then we are missing the entire point by insisting we assign these two styles to the same one, because they don't go together.
It's not a different style though, is it? It's a fucking arena shooter with slight differences. Same as GoldenEye has slight differences. Same as fucking all these other fucking games. Turok Rage Wars, is that the same fucking game as Quake? No! Is Unreal Tournament the same as Quake? I despair, man. I despair. It's fucking South Park on Nintendo 64. Is that not an arena shooter? Okay? A game where you shoot fucking cows and out of rocket launchers and it falls on someone's fucking head. Right? Is that not an arena shooter? To me, it's a fucking arena shooter, right? But apparently, because it's completely different gameplay and shit, it's not an arena shooter. But we haven't got a genre to put it in because it doesn't fit into the Halo genre either. So we're not going to have a genre. We're just going to fucking say, well, this game is slightly different to this one. And we're not going to have a genre. Even though we've established for 21 years. Longer for South Park. Longer for Turok Rage Wars. Longer for all these fucking games. They're arena shooters. But we can't apparently have that established fact anymore. We have to warp reality. This is like the non-binary argument. This is like fucking LGBTQ bullshit. Okay? That's like saying, like, it's like saying, fuck you, there isn't male and female fuck you walruses. We're there. This is where we are with Halo now. We've got these fucking weirdos talking utter bullshit, saying like established fucking facts for over 20 years are not facts, but with no actual argument for why. Just their feelings are that, no, not your feelings. Why? What are the facts? Why? You can't put it in any other genre, so it goes in the arena shooter category like it has done for 21 years. And all the shit you're saying here, right, doesn't change that. It's like when they tried to put that game that Ubisoft's making, I can't remember the name of it recently, they tried to say that it's an arena shooter, and it's not an arena shooter, and everyone was like, that's not a fucking arena shooter, you fucking clowns. And they're trying to act like it is, even though it fucking totally isn't. Not in any way, shape, or form an arena shooter. So people know what arena shooter is, and they're not willing to accept when one isn't. So if Halo, if people weren't willing to accept that, why has it been established for 21 years, and no one has said anything until Favyn went to work at 343, and 343 fucked up Halo Infinite? Why are we saying it now?
So that's my reasoning as to why I don't consider Halo an arena shooter. I used to call it that. I don't mind that other people still call it that. But
you used to call it that because that's what it is.
But I have become disenchanted with the label personally, especially when it is used to diminish...
Yes, and fucking transsexuals are disenchanted with the label when they're identifying as women and we call them men. But guess what? They are biologically men. And Halo is biologically a fucking arena shooter. No matter how much they put lipstick on the fucking pig, it's still a pig. This is the thing. It is what it is. It's not fucking rocket science. It shouldn't even be in question. I shouldn't have to make this fucking garbage video. But literally nobody else in the whole fucking world is going to call this guy out on his own fucking bullshit. So it has to be me. Has to be me.
Halo's viability. And you know, 343 calls Halo an arena shooter. They use the term in their marketing. They push it.
That's because it's not an arena shooter anymore. So to draw in the fucking bullshit fans, alright, now they have to fucking keep going. It's an arena shooter, it's an arena shooter, arena shooter. When now it isn't. Now it's less of an arena shooter than it's ever been. And now they're trying to push it as one. Whereas Bungie didn't say fucking shit. They just released the game and it was an arena shooter. Fuck!
And they don't have the best track record at accurately distinguishing concepts from one another. And if they associate Halo with these experiences that have nothing in common and very little crossover in audience, they may mistakenly shift Halo in the wrong direction, which is...
Well, they gave you a job to tell them how to make the game, so clearly they don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. Right? Because we've got some guy talking about non-binary bullshit with regard to Halo. Because that's what we're doing here. We're trying to unravel 21 years of fucking established facts. For what reason?
It's been known to happen. So that's my thought process. It's not a dig. It's not an elitist position. It is as simple as I associate the term arena shooter with a style of gameplay that Halo very simply does not have. And there are...
That makes zero sense. Because you even said yourself, you used to call it an arena shooter. You've established that Halo has gameplay that fucking reflects other arena shooters, and then you went on to say, but Halo doesn't have da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, but it does have da-da-da-da-da that is associated with other arena shooters. So why is it not an arena shooter then?
There are many others who would define the genre in this way, as it describes the games that started it. And I think Halo is really special and maybe should start being considered something more distinct to recognize its
like? Example?
unique offering. This isn't about one being better than the other. They both have
What do you mean? What one what? What is it then? What category?
tremendous merit, and while both Halo and traditional arena shooters are struggling a bit right now, they do not have the same problems. Halo's current struggles are completely different to the things that arena FPS games are struggling.
What are you talking about? Fucking Halo's problems are the fact that 343 is in fucking charge. And the fact that they're not making a fucking Halo game. They're not making a fucking arena shooter. It's not about that. They're making a shit Twitch shooter with no content in it. Halo's problems are fucking huge. You advocated for battle passes. You said battle passes were a good idea. Why is the game dead then? It's bullshit, man. You said that shit before launch. You were wrong. And now you're wrong again. Now you're coming up with something completely retarded.
Halo has been in an identity crisis for the past decade, fitting considering the topic of this video and the response to this topic.
Yeah, so why is it an arena shooter now, but it wasn't before? But, like, I can fucking say, logically, that it's fucking changed and it's now not an arena shooter. But you double down and say, well, it's never been an arena shooter, which is retarded in itself. I just fucking despair, man. Who's sending me shit? I just fucking despair, man. I can't believe this bullshit, man.
People making the games have just had a tough time even defining what the game is. And I think arena shooters are just naturally a little less accessible and have had a tough time onboarding new players in a way that doesn't fundamentally damage the tenets of the game. Because the goal isn't to change the special parts of your game to get more people to play it, but find
Well, that is the goal of Halo, isn't it?
way to get people through the learning curve so they can experience...
What learning curve? What are you talking about? There's no learning curve.
the special parts of your game. That goes for everything, really, but I think the learning curve on AFPS games especially is making that a challenge. But I absolutely think they are...
That's utter bollocks. It's not to do with that. It's to do with fucking the fact that they had their day. Everything has its day. That's just the way it is. Everything has its fucking day. You can't say, well, like side-scrolling platformers, right? Is that because they people struggle to pick up and play them? No, it's because they had their day. That's what happened. Moving on.
From a pure design perspective. So no problem if you don't agree with me. You might carry a different definition. Honestly, that term has so many meanings and is used to describe so many games that locking it down to one true definition is impossible. I've seen people describe Titanfall 2 as an arena shooter.
Yes, but that's your retarded fans. No, none of my fans are saying that. Not one of my pages ever said that to me. What are you talking about?
People say Team Fortress 2 is an arena shooter because it starts...
Well, it's not, is it? Just because retards say things doesn't mean them true. Same as what you're doing here. You're saying it, and it doesn't make it true.
As a Quake mod. I've seen people say anything that uses arena-style map design is an arena shooter. I mean, even taking the...
No! Who's saying that?
Definition we use for Halo even starts in on-map pickups. That's super broad. That includes games like Gears. That includes games like...
It does include games like Gears. Gears is an arena shooter, you fucking moron. What are you talking about? Gears absolutely 110% is an arena shooter. It's fucking more of an arena shooter than Halo. What do you mean it's not an arena shooter? What fucking drugs are you on? How is Gears of War not an arena shooter? It was literally based on Unreal Tournament. It was going to be Unreal Tournament free, and then they realized, hey, we can't make this Unreal Tournament free because we'll get fucking destroyed. Let's just make it its own game. It literally was based on Unreal Tournament. Fucking, I don't believe this shit. I don't believe it. I like, how is Gears of War not an arena shooter? That's even more of an arena shooter than Halo. I fail to understand this guy. He just doesn't play video games. Not a clue what he's talking about.
007 Nightfire. That would include most of the...
Of course, what the fuck is 007 Nightfire? Of course 007 Nightfire is a fucking arena shooter. What fucking else is it? It's literally a fucking GoldenEye fucking continuation. It was made by the same people that made fucking The World Is Not Enough on the 64, which was a fucking clone of freaking GoldenEye on the 64. It followed on from there. What do you mean it's not an arena shooter? Is GoldenEye not an arena shooter? Is Perfect Dark? This makes zero sense. Of course 007 Nightfire is a fucking arena shooter. What fucking other possible genre would you put it in? What are you talking about? Of course it is. Jesus Christ. I think I've even used that as an example in a video before. Of like games, arena shooters from back in the day, 007 Nightfire. I swear down, I've used that as an example. 007 Nightfire is not an arena shooter. Gears isn't an arena shooter. Halo isn't an arena shooter. What is then? What, just Quake and fucking Unreal Tournaments and that's fucking it? That's it? 2 fucking games in a whole fucking genre? That makes a ton of sense. That makes a ton of fucking sense. That does. Okay, yeah, Call of Duty's not a Twitch shooter. The only Twitch shooter is freaking Titanfall. Honestly, that's the only Twitch shooter is Titanfall. It's clearly obvious. Call of Duty is too different from Titanfall. Titanfall, you kick people in the fucking face, okay? You don't do that in Call of Duty. Call of Duty's not a fucking Twitch shooter. What are you talking about? This man has no arguments. He's an idiot. He never had it. He never had a clue. He never had a clue, and he never will have a clue. It's retarded. It's backwards. It's upside down. It's inside out. It's up your ass. It's fucking nonsense. 8,000 views. Can't wait for the comment sections on Twitch and fucking YouTube. I love not in the video shooter. Favyn said,
Battle Royales on the market, albeit with random item drops, and no one would consider those arena shooters. They most certainly are.
No, because they've got a genre of their own. A Battle Royale. We have a genre to describe those. It's a Battle Royale. We have a genre for those. We have a genre established. Okay, now explain to me why Fortnite is not a battle royale because it's not like PUBG, right? Because in Fortnite you can build stuff. So it's clearly not a battle royale because you can build stuff. And you can't do that in PUBG. So obviously, it's like a completely different game series. I mean, if you play Fortnite, it's not like when you play PUBG. I mean, when you play PUBG, you don't build anything, okay? But in Fortnite, you do. So clearly, that's not a fucking battle royale game. Logic out of the window. Lists his own fucking nonsense arguments like come back to bite him, man. It makes no sense.
But interestingly enough, games like Quake Champions, which everybody would say falls within the genre, does not have even starts. It doesn't even fit this incredibly broad model.
I've never played Quake Champions, nor do I fucking care about Quake Champions. Nobody cares about Quake Champions. We're talking about fucking Halo. Why is Halo not a fucking arena shooter? If Quake Champions is not an arena shooter, which quite possibly it isn't an arena shooter, quite possibly it's not an arena shooter anymore, the same way Halo is not an arena shooter anymore with Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, okay, Quake Champions might be doing the same fucking shit, trying to fucking codify and modify and ruin the game, okay? That might be a thing. But guess what? I never played Quake Champions, even though I got it for free. I never played it because no one fucking cares. But that's nothing to do with your arguments. You've got nothing to do with why Halo is not an arena shooter. Because Quake Champions is considered one, but it isn't. But who cares?
And yet is widely considered an AFPS because of its feel.
Because Quake. The same way Halo is considered one. Because Halo. Because it was in the past. That's why your dumbass says that fucking all of Halo and you take them all as one fucking thing. You don't go, hey, well, here's the cutoff point to where it became a fucking Twitch shooter, which is a fucking clear red line between Halo 4 and Halo 5. That's where it became a Twitch shooter. There you go, moving on. All we need is a red line on Quake. Okay, so we had Quake Free Arena, and then, oh, there's a red line, and then Quake Champions, or whatever. Okay? That's it. It's not rocket science. Oh, yeah, but Quake 4 had multiplayer. You didn't include Quake 4 GLL. Blah, 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 blah. The point remains. The point fucking remains. Quake Champions might not be an arena shooter. The same way Halo 5 and Halo Infinite are not arena shooters. But people are still going to associate it with being an arena shooter because that's what they associate Quake with being. The series Quake. If that game had came out like today and it wasn't Quake, if we crossed the word Quake out and it was nothing to do with fucking Quake, not made by fucking id or whatever, it was made by somebody else, would we still call it an arena shooter? I don't even play the game. I don't even know about it.
Like those games that originally coined the term. Hell, I've seen fucking Doom Eternal get the stamp of approval in the last couple days as well, because again,
that's like Halo. That's like a fucking Halo Infinite, Halo 5. It's in that category. It's like it's a fucking Twitch shooter, basically. That's what Doom Eternal is. That's what Doom fucking 2016 is. They're more fucking Twitch shooters. That's what all these fucking games are doing. They're heading in that fucking direction. They're all doing the same shit. Fucking Doom 2016 was made by Certain Affinity. Halo Infinite has been worked on by Certain Affinity. Certain Affinity has worked on Call of Duty games. Okay? They're all heading in that fucking direction. Okay? They're all becoming fucking Twitch shooters. Starting from the position of not being Twitch shooters. Okay? It's not difficult. This stuff isn't hard to understand. It only gets complicated when Favyn opens his trap and starts talking nonsense. That's when things get complicated.
Feels like one and uses a lot of arena style levels in the campaign, and that game has asymmetrical multiplayer. Okay, so if you still disagree,
so did Halo Reach on sword base, but it's still an arena shooter. Symmetrical maps aren't arena shooters. You can have asymmetrical maps on arena shooters. What was frickin' Zanzibar? What the fuck was fucking Ivory Tower? Are you fucking nuts? Oh, but Halo's not an arena shooter because it has uneven maps. Blah, 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 blah. I despair, man.
like I said, no problem. But I hope at least you understand the perspective I have on this and consider whether...
How can you understand something that is completely mentally retarded? That is so fucked up, it's beyond all recognition. No one can even relate to you as a human being at this point. You're just an idiot talking into a fucking microphone. There's nothing. What you say in the last fucking 60 minutes has made any fucking sense. The first 7 minutes, you didn't even make an argument, and then you like try to justify your argument by saying, well, this game has this and this game has that, but you've got no actual reason as to why the game is simply not an arena shooter. That's all you had to prove. It didn't matter whether Quake has this or this, that, the. None of that matters. You should be able to disprove it just by going, well, it's not an arena shooter because of X, Y, and Z. That's it. And you can't do that because it's established as an arena shooter. And none of what you say will ever fucking change that. It's nuts. Even if you say Halo does this, 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 and this, and they're all different to fucking Quake, that doesn't fucking matter. Because it's got X, Y, and Z that are the same as fucking Quake. Which strengthens the argument that it is an arena shooter.
Or not, it may be beneficial to redesignate Halo. Is it beneficial?
Designate as what? You haven't got an alternative.
Halo to call it this. And you know what should we call it then? I got no fucking clue. I don't.
Well then, why make the video? You have no fucking idea what this imaginary genre is that you just made up out of thin air. You haven't even got a name for it. Let's call it the Favyn frickin' genre. Okay, so Halo is the Favyn genre, whatever that is, right? And then everything else is not in that genre. Okay, there you go. Halo's not an arena shooter. It's a Favyn shooter. Whatever that is. Some guy named Favyn made it up.
I don't even have that answer for you today. A hybrid, a sandbox shooter.
Please don't make more. Please, for the love of God, do not fucking quadruple down on this shit. Please. Don't do it.
But those are my thoughts. Let me know if I move the needle a bit for you today. But regardless of what genre you consider Halo to be in, the franchise and the experience it provides is 100% viable. And if nurtured, will be just as compelling to people 20 years from now as it was 20 years ago. And really,
they butchered the franchise, dude. There's no going back from here. MCC, Halo 5, and now Halo Infinite. You can't make that gameplay viable because they have butchered the series. People have longer memories than that. So they remember that Halo 5 sucked dick, that Halo Infinite sucked dick. Oh, and by the way, MCC sucked dick. So why are they going to buy the next Halo? That's why Halo's doomed. It's got nothing to do with its gameplay at all. It's just that the game flat out fucking sucks. Okay? In layman's terms.
That's what I want to focus on more than anything. I want to talk about what makes Halo special going forward on this channel. And I'd love for you to join me.
Nothing anymore. They killed it.
Till next time.
I just despair, man. I've had it. I've had it, man. It's retarded, man. I just don't fucking get it, man. How do they come up with this stuff? What is the point? Take an established fucking fact and then try and argue against it in the most retarded fashion ever conceived by YouTube. Like, just keep writing stuff and hoping that, like, people are not going to notice that it's all just one big pile of shit. Kind of like that Halo cookbook. Like, what the fuck, man? It's mime rot. It's utter nonsense. These fucking guys are going to be coming into this video. I'm just not even going to respond, guys. So if they say just nonsense, I'm just going to be like, nah, not doing it. Feel free to subscribe, guys. I'll see you later.
Some people will double down and triple down and quadruple down on being wrong, being liars, right? Because they're already in so deep. They've already said so much shit, and now they just even though I can prove them wrong, they will not They will not backtrack. They will not apologize. They will not admit they were wrong.